Gaming 3, and welcome to the Final Fantasy Randomizer Co-op Tournament. We are here this lovely morning, or afternoon if you're Lynn. So welcome in everybody. I am joined in chat by Lynn the Cat. Lynn, how are you doing this afternoon?
Oh, I'm doing great, and I'm looking forward at this opportunity to scope out my competition for the next round. My team will play the winner of this match, so I am taking notes and rubbing my hands together.
Ah, yes, the vaunted scope them out or supervise strategy so that you can learn how your competition plans to beat you next week. Anyway, so we have on our left-hand side our Trash Island party with Lord Fizzlebeef and Dark Moon, and on the right we have the clever team named Tarnin and Sonny Wrath. So everybody is all synced up and ready to go. Of course, it is a 10-minute delay, so they've already started officially, but we're waiting on it to catch up. And it should be catching up momentarily, so we should be able to see everybody going through today.
All right, I see them checking their party and moving some things, and we're off. And Topher is in Canaria Castle.
All right, so chat's correcting me. Trash Island is Lord Fizzlebeef and Tarnin, so my apologies. I was accustomed to the teams both being on the same side from yesterday's broadcast, so mea culpa on that one.
Yeah, I think the teams aren't quite set up correctly on the tracker, but I'm sure we'll have that rectified pretty quickly. Because again, we've only got one item tracker for both teams since both teams are sharing all the key items. All right, white magic is not so pretty, and black magic, it's a fire 3, that's good enough. So fire 3 will do a lot of work early in the game, because if you get stuck with no early magic in these seeds, they can be really difficult. Just ask the guys who played last night.
I've heard stories, yes. I wasn't able to watch last night, unfortunately, but I did hear a little bit leading into today's broadcast, so holy mackerel.
Yeah, just with these flags, there's a good chance that the level 1 magic is the only decent magic that you'll have for quite a long time in the game. You may have to get the canoe and the floater and dig lots of dungeons with only level 1 magic. So if that's the case, you need some kind of sweep or something to do offensively, and ideally like a life or an exit or anything to help you in white magic.
Right.
Or you might find Elfland really fast and it might not be a big deal. So you never really know early on.
Yeah. Or you might also find yourself an herb real quick. That helps too.
Yeah, and another thing, if you didn't know this, with these seeds, we've got there's an inversion on, so every floor there's a 50-50 chance that it's inverted, left to right. And for Topher, it's kind of difficult to see which one, but on some of those deep floors in the Sea Shrine or in Earth, even if you know the map really well, when you're looking at it inverted, it can actually be quite difficult, which is another monkey wrench that we've thrown at all the runners.
Right. I think I saw that. I believe I saw it on Sonny's screen. He was checking the right-hand door to make sure if it was inverted or not, and found it locked, so he was able to figure out that way.
Okay, it looks like Dark Moon's stream is a little jammed. It may be being switched up again. I'm not sure what's going on there, but we'll get it taken care of momentarily.
Right.
The chests in Topher don't really look like they've been yielding anything. And now we're going to finally see some other checks here. And this is where you're going to see the teams kind of spread out, where one guy does one part of the world and the other one does the other. And this is where teamwork really comes into play. If you and your partner are communicating and really covering the world nicely and letting each other know when you find really good equipment, it really can make a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, of course, that's in essence the name of a co-op game anyway, but it's definitely emphasized when you have, especially some of the stuff that are in these flags, such as the entrance and floor shuffles, and that includes dead ends, that includes, I believe Deep Towns is a part of it as well.
Yeah, Deep Towns is part of it. I think Topher can't be deep, but all the towns can be. So maybe you do have that early Provoca or Elfland, but you have to dive 3, 4, 5 levels of very difficult dungeons to get there.
Right.
So on Tarnin's screen, he found the herb. Okay, now we haven't found the prince to trade that herb in, but now we know we can mark that off. So this is an earth floor. Okay, so this is the rod-locked Earth, and it is inverted. And red ankles that are unrunnable on the trap tile. So I suspect
God.
Tarnan will just say no to this, because they don't have rod. He didn't check all the chests, but they can come back to that.
Yeah, those. Oh God, red and kilos. That sounds like tragedy all by itself.
Oh yeah, you can be level 30 and that's still a hard fight. So at level like 3 where they're at right now, I just don't think so. And you can see Tarnan's just taking some levels. He knows that just a couple of extra levels in the early game really can make a difference here.
Right, absolutely. Also, I want to shout out our Speed Gamer helper real quick, T Sigma, for getting everything fixed up as far as the settings are concerned and making sure that we have our heads on straight by having our teams in the places that we're more accustomed to. So much appreciated.
Okay, all right. So we have the teams in the right spots and the tracker set up. Okay.
Yeah, I believe everything should be fixed up now.
Okay, Fizzle Beef's in Marsh Top. There's I think 4 chests up there. And it looks like Sonny Wrath is in the Spider Room of Sky.
Yep.
And I see Ordeals in Elfland Castle. So Elfland Castle is Ordeals. They're not quite strong enough to do that yet, but you can do that maybe level 8-ish. So they'll probably go there pretty soon because at least one item is there.
Right.
Really cool looking rock goals there on Sonny Wrath's screen. He's clearing out the spider floor. I don't think he's found anything of note. Meanwhile, Fizzle Beef is checking out the last of these chests, and nothing. Okay. And that's with these flags, it's often a whole lot of nothing. And you can't leave these chests behind because there's too many loose items.
Yep. And there's also a fair number of the dungeons have random item placements, so yeah, you definitely need to be on your P's and Q's on that front. I just want to mention also real quick with chat, Zen asking when are we hosting Pixel Remaster races. Actually, there was a Pixel Remaster race on day 1 where we had several runners who played through the original Pixel Remaster, and it was a lot of fun. I was one of the comms for it. It was a real late race, so I had to jump out to give final exams the next morning, but it was a lot of fun. I believe it was on the Final Fantasy Randomizer channel, so if you want to go back and watch that VOD, I think it should still be up.
Yeah, I think so, but I got to admit, I'm an old fuddy-duddy, and when I see these beautiful old graphics remade, I just think back in the olden days we had better video games than these kids these days.
I was going to say, I think we can compete about old man stories later. I will say, though, having done comms for it, it is a lot of fun. The music is excellent. The graphics are pretty good. It is PSP difficulty, essentially, so the bosses are twice as hard, pretty much literally. Scripts are random, as opposed to the sort of state of attacks that we have in the original game, so it made for some interesting adjusting, kind of on the fly, in regards to what some of the runners were able to do. It was a fairly lengthy one, but it was a very fun show.
Well, were they racing that game blind, like having never played that version before? Because
Yes.
There's little changes here and there.
Yeah, they were, in fact, whenever they were getting it set up, I can't remember exactly who set it up. And there's Danny linking the stream for you, so if you want to go and watch it after this, obviously, but yeah. Okay, Danny mentioning Fiddle set it up, but he actually specified that for anybody who took part in it, that they not play it prior to the race, so that everybody would go in with the same level of knowledge or lack of knowledge.
So that's really cool there, and I have taken a look at it, and it does seem really smooth looking. So we have the loot, which had a different name on Dark Moon's side or on Sonny Rat's side. One of the two of them picked up the loot. And that's a really big item. Often the loot's the last thing you're looking for in these flags, because as long as you take a thief, you'll have lock picking, which means you can get through locked places. The only one who didn't take a thief was Lord Fizzlebeef, so he'll either have to find the key or recruit a thief, and there's a 2 in 3 chance that you'll find a thief recruitable.
Right. Looks like Fizzlebeef has found Elfland Castle, turning in the herb and getting Well, Astos' headwear, which... all right.
And Darkmoon has found Kraken, so it looks like Kraken is really deep in Elfland Village. So again, unless they have Brack or some other special way of winning that fight, yeah, he's way too tough for them to take on at this point.
Right. Meanwhile, it looks like Tarnin has decided to go ahead and plunge through ordeals, and we'll see how the lovely Pillar Maze goes for him. Fire 3 is going to do some real work against these zombie dragons.
Yeah, actually, Fire 3 is going to work against almost all of the enemies that he can encounter here, other than maybe the man cats.
Right.
And he's got a heal 2 stick. That's nice. It's
And
probably our free stick.
Sonny found himself a floater and a canoe in the Sea Shrine. Holy mackerel.
Wow, okay, so this is the definition of a jet seat and these kind of things. You found both the floater and the canoe, because usually you'll get the floater early, then you're looking for the canoe forever, or vice versa. But so one of those is a loose item, the other one is the Sea Shrine item. So, again, there could be a couple more items even in Sea Shrine. They could all be in the same place. But you can see Sonny was struggling with the routing there because of the inversion.
Yeah. And it looked like, from what I saw, Darkmoon found the cube in Mermaids as well.
An interesting thing that they may come back to is Tarnin discovered 2 sandworms on a trap tile in Ordeals. And late in these flags, you often need to get a few extra levels before you can dive Topher, and that might be a great spot to get it.
Oh, yeah.
Also, a heal 3 gauntlet, which is just indispensable.
Uh-huh. Especially since, if I remember correctly from looking at the flags, the heal spells have been buffed.
I'm not sure if heal 3 has been buffed, but like the lower end ones have.
Okay. I wasn't sure if that applied to all of the above, or if it was just for basic heal.
Okay, just a ruby in the vanilla spot in Ordeals. And some unrunnable mummies and whiz mummies. Tarnin has the equipment and the team to beat this. And it's pretty darn good experience, but the fact that it's unrunnable makes this a little ugly.
Yeah.
But Fire 3 does work.
Yeah, absolutely. But it looks like really 2, depending on how you see that unrunnable bit, but still 2 potentially good grind tiles with the spells particularly that our teams have.
Yeah, and they could even go grind a few levels on the mummies, get a few levels, and then you're tough enough to easily, knock out the sandworms. The problem with the sandworms is sometimes they roll really low morale, and when that's the case, they'll start running away from you, where you maybe want to take your grind higher. And with this early floater, this is going to be even more difficult for us to keep track of where they're all at, because now they're really going to spiral all over the place. In some ways, this is going to give this is really a big equalizer here, and the team that routes a little bit better and really communicates better and eliminates possibilities really is going to come out ahead. Now,
right.
Here, I think this is a mistake on Darkmoon's part. He's diving Waterfall, which he found, but you can maybe find a town and find warp or exit, and man, this whole dungeon is so much easier with warp or exit. I would just mark this on my tracker and keep looking, especially when you get this early airship. You just want to see where everything is at, and if you can find that Provoker or Elfland and find a warp or an exit, and coming back to here, you'll save well, arguably 50% of the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Worth noting a couple things. Sonny found Lich, and I think went ahead and disposed of him, but I was admittedly, I was also distracted because I got my first very good glimpse on Fizzle and Tarnin's side of Speedboat, and I was a little entranced.
Yeah, and Lich, you blink and you miss it. Even in these flags,
that too.
The bosses are buffed, but even when the bosses are buffed, Lich 1 is just a speed bump, even at level 10.
He's just a heavier speed bump. That's all.
We've seen Lich do a little bit of heavy lifting in Topher, but so he can slow you down and make you burn a bunch of heal spells. So the second one's not such a thing to laugh at, but even so, I feel that it's immoral as a Final Fantasy rando runner for me to give any respect at all to either version of Lich.
So one of the things I noticed with and you'll see when you watch the remaster race, Lich ain't a speed bump no more. He took exception to being a speed bump, I will say.
Well, that's good. Yeah, if they're going and tweaking the game, find the places that you can really tweak. As long as they didn't make Kraken 2 any more difficult.
I think I don't remember exactly. I won't do too much spoiling, I suppose, because y'all should go watch the race after this. But it was, I don't remember exactly what they did for Kraken. I think I ended up having to go back. I don't remember if that was around, I think that was around the time I had to leave the broadcast. And
Well,
actually,
Well, I was wondering if they changed the way the spells work. Do they just have a list that the boss goes down, or can the boss cast any of his spells out of order?
it's any.
Yeah, that's what I
And,
thought, because it's like a MP system now.
no, actually, with the remaster, they went back to the charges.
Okay, well, I like that better. That was one of my biggest complaints, is that the whole charge system is what made Final Fantasy 1 unique.
Yeah, it's back to the charge system, but the bosses, I think, can pretty much do any... I don't know necessarily about anything, but it's not in the same sort of pattern that we're accustomed to with, oh, well, hey, they're going to do this, and they're going to do this, because we have an idea of their set. Not in the remaster.
Okay, we found a Pro Ring -1 to go with the ribbon and another Pro Ring that we've got so far. Ribbons also are another key thing late in this. The Fiends have so many hit points that you're going to see a Bane or a Zap or something really nasty in Topher, and you need a way to dodge that, even at high defense. Ooh, and something had Stone Touch. I think it was something in the seafloor. I think it was Sea Snakes have Stone Touch.
Ooh.
Somebody in chat can let me know if they saw it better. But he's still cleaning out the Sharknado floor.
It's also... another thing I'll mention, Tarnin playing around with the Peninsula of Power. Another thing worth noting about the remaster, the Peninsula of Power is dead.
Oh, well, I mean, it was kind of a bug. It wasn't intended to be there. It just, they had the, divided into zones, and that was just cutting into the zone above it, so.
Right.
We found Tiamat on Darkmoon's screen, and now he's talking. See, both he and his partner took a second, they're talking there. It's like, no. They're not tough enough to take on Tiamat yet.
Yeah, that's one thing that you're definitely going to see with all of the runners is whenever you see them pausing on stream like that, it's not, oh, I'm pausing because I don't know what to do. It's, oh, I'm pausing because I'm talking with my partner and we're making sure everything is straight.
Well, that, and with these flags, you have to be taking notes. At least one of the two teammates needs to be taking notes. In my team, we both take notes. Yeah. And it saves you time, 2 seconds to mark down where something's at. That will save you that time later in the seed. It just will.
Right.
So it still looks like Tarnin and Fizzlebeef are not airborne quite yet. Do we remember where it was in the? It was in the seafloor. Okay, it was in Mermaids,
yes.
where the canoe and the floater were both.
Yep, canoe, floater, and cube, I believe, were all there. So, holy Moses.
Okay, well, we're actually using the ruby. Usually, the ruby is totally worthless in these seeds. Okay, and this is like French vanilla. It takes you to the other side of the continent. But again, this exploration that Fizzlebeef is doing is taking a lot of time, and this can be done in the airship in just seconds. And his partner is about to find out all that good stuff. Find that ribbon and the 2 key items. So.
Yeah, it's, of course, for what they know, what they knew at the time of doing that, it's understandable, though, because Fizzle sees Titans. He wants to make sure that, Titans West and Titans East to see where both of those lead, and then figure out, okay, so this is where it goes. Of course, now that they have the canoe and floater, now they know, hey, we could have reached this by flying to it. But at the time, of course, they weren't aware of that, so it's understandable why Fizz did what he did.
Oh yeah, I'd do the same thing for sure.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so it's a white wizard is behind Lich, so Fizzlebeef will be able to add a white wizard to his party who's already class changed. Now, he may not want to keep it, but there's no reason not to take it when you have a blank member right now.
Yeah, and I mean, I know there are different thoughts in the community as far as the viability of whether you should lean on white mages or just go ahead and go with more power-intensive party setups. But, I mean, in entrance and floor shuffle, especially like this, exit is one of those spells that is invaluable for speeding up that exploration. So the white wizard or white mage definitely has a lot more merit in this sense, with exit being so important.
I agree, and I think there's another aspect that the White Wizard brings, which is this also has very high boss scaling.
Yes.
And when you get into that, and you get into Topher dives, it's not if, it's when you're going to have party members dropped. And having somebody who can just throw out life twos or lives to bring everything back is really key. And sometimes you can get those life spells on a red mage or on a fighter who's promoted, but when you have a White Wizard, you'll have them.
Exactly, yeah. Oh, Sonny Wrath just found Carrie.
Alright, well, now this is where it's interesting, where you're almost tough enough to fight her, but I think, yeah, he's just going to mark that and keep looking. Because really what you want to do is you want to find those incentivized items. So, finding Ice Cave is really big, finding Ordeals is really big, and then you're looking for those floors with lots of chests, especially like sky floors. And so I think Sonny's on the TFC floor where Gersharks have Thunder and probably just wiped his party.
Oh,
His
almost.
Thief is still up.
Holy mackerel. I think I saw Rub there too.
Yeah, they threw out and Bahamut's down at the bottom. Now they have a tail, so they can fight Bahamut. Now there's no way his Thief can fight Bahamut here. He'll lose, but
yeah.
Bahamut's pretty tough. Bahamut's about, I would say, as strong as like Tiamat 1. I may be off on that, and somebody in chat can correct me on exactly how strong he is. But having fought him several times, it feels like about Tiamat 1.
This is another one of the flags that is new to me, admittedly, is the fact that instead of turning in the tail and just growing up, then Bahamut's like, yeah, I want my tail back, thank you.
Yeah, well, you have to prove yourself before you get his blessing here.
As though going through and getting the tail is not proving yourself enough.
Yeah, well, you could have found that anywhere, man. That was just laying in the bottom of a dungeon. You really have to prove that you're a real hero. And you see here the chest that Tarnin is checking right there, that's not the normal incentivized chest for carry. Now he's going to the normal incentivized chest because the floor is inverted. And Gurnaga Air on the first trap tile, that's not a good trap tile. Now, Chimeras are a good trap tile if they're squishy.
Yeah.
So those items are checked. I don't know if Tarnin is considering fighting carry or not. I wouldn't with this early airship. I would just keep exploring, mark down where carry is, and you can come back with at least better equipment, and if not more levels.
Right.
Okay, Northwest Castle check. Okay, that's where Sharknado is. And Lord Fizzlebeef also made a really good check there. He checked the Ordeal's location while he still had the ship before he turned in the floater. That saves quite a bit of time because once you have the floater, getting to Ordeal's is a much bigger hassle.
Alright, looks like Dark. Yup. So, hello, level 2 magic. How are you?
And you see that little pause there. Let's see what the level 2 has for white. Wall and Cure 2, okay. Cure 2 is useful, Wall is even more useful.
Speaking of useful, hello, Nuke.
Okay, so yeah, this is the play right here, and they already had Fire 3, so they're Katana -3. So that's not so great. So they're gonna need some kind of melee. Now the Thief could promote and use that Katana, but at -3, that's a little weak. You'll still have a good crit rate, but It's not phenomenal. And there is a Maza that you can find at the end of the game. The vanilla Maza will always be a Maza, but getting that is really a hassle.
Yeah. I was going to say, if I remember correctly, the vanilla, I know the Maza flag is there, but I believe there's also a flag that's called Send the Masamune Home, and I believe that is tri-stated.
Yeah, so that means that might be on. So maybe that's the only Maza you find, maybe not.
Okay.
Now we're actually going to get to see Bicky, and Safe Pirates is off. These pirates could have Blaze, they could have, anything. I could have Stone Touch. I saw Stone Touch once, that was nice.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
Well, really dodging the Stone Touch is easier than dealing with AoE on these guys. If they have, a Fire 3 or something, it can be a real pain.
Yeah, that's fair. The good thing is, Nuke is just as good against pirates that are safe or unsafe.
Did Darkmoon talk to Bicky? It looked like he didn't.
Nope. Not yet.
See, now he sees something really good in the armor shop, and then, yep, see, look at that, Procate +4. That's really nice. I'll write that down, and then I'm going to forget all about Bicky. That's me. And
oh no!
Am I wrong, or did he forget about Bicky, or maybe he'll go back? Okay, I just saw a quick U-turn.
Yep.
All right, yeah, he forgot about it. Okay, it's just a katana. All right, so it's no big thing.
Still, that brief moment though.
What did the Circle of Sages give us? Somebody in chat can let us know. I saw Wasani Wrath was visiting Circle of Sages. What was that?
Yeah, I was doing the same thing. I was looking at Dark Moon going, wait, Dark Moon, wait! And then I missed it too, so forgive us.
Because I've done that before. You leave Bicky and it's like, okay, I'll talk to him after I check these items down here, and then you just easily forget about it.
Yep. Tarnin picked up the explosives in the waterfall from the robot, so we have ourselves some lovely little fireworks.
Okay, but we haven't found Dwarf Cave yet, so That's something that they'll have to put together there. I've already seen the Titans. At this point, there's just got to be a couple of deep dungeons. I don't think anybody. Ooh, we found dwarves on Fizzlebeef.
Yep.
He's gonna turn in that TNT right away. That's pretty good timing. Let's see if the TNT leads to Adamant. Love that. Oh, it's Crystal. Have we seen Matoya's cave yet? I'm not sure we have.
Not that I'm aware of.
And I'm not sure if we've seen a vendor item or not either.
The vendor item was the bottle in Canaria.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. All right. So it was early. And have we traded in the bottle yet?
Yes. Let's see. According to, I think it's early for everybody. Our tracker has the prince and fairy giving us the crown, so we may need a slight update on the notes. But definitely shout outs to Danny, who is doing the tracking. It is early for everybody, and trying to keep up with 4 people and what 4 people discover is insanely difficult, so definitely not going to begrudge any issues. Danny has fixed the notes to mention that the fairy gave us the vanilla item of Oxyale, which we're actually about to see on Sonny's side.
Oh, well, is this even randomized? My goodness.
Also, Dark Moon.
We got the Hall of Giants over on Fizzlebeef, and that's a really good grind spot if it's got something.
Yeah.
First grind spot, Shadows with Trance.
No bueno.
He's not even going to look at the other side of that. So now we'll just look at the trap tile and check these chests. We found Ice Cave for Sonny Wrath, so there will be at least one key item in all of these Ice Cave checks.
And Danny mentioning also in the notes that the Sage gave us an Excalibur, so good news for the fighter, not so good news for everybody else.
Well, if Excalibur rolls up, it's not so bad.
Yeah.
But that's not an endgame sword. That's not a wartime consigliere. You can use it to beat some fiends, but you probably need to grab the Maza at the end of the game if you're going with that.
Yeah.
Same thing with Vorpal. If it rolls up, you can use that at the end game, but if Vorpal rolls down, at that point you're better with a vanilla Masamune.
Right, Dark Moon turning in the crown, having found Astos, and I think is going to get a key out of it. I believe that's what I saw on the screen. Fortunately, we'll see another screen once Astos goes down, but I believe it was a key.
Yeah, Astos probably has no chance here. He's a little outclassed. We tried to quake him, that didn't work, but Nuke will do the trick. Dark Moon's level 8. That's a little low at this point. Yeah, it is key. But again, getting levels in these flag sets is pretty easy. Once you have a couple of the crystals down, your EXP starts to grow a lot. And that's an advantage right now that Lord Fizzlebeef and Tarnin have, because they have one orblet. They're getting double the EXP, I believe. So that's actually pretty significant and time-saving.
Yeah.
Because you will have to get some levels in the middle to beat these 4 fiends. You usually can't beat Tiamat. I don't know, like I'm kind of pulling this out of thin air, but maybe like level 15 or so. So you have to find a way to get there before you can really do an endgame grind to get you to at least the low 30s before you can try to tackle Topher.
Yeah. I believe Sonny Wrath showing us that the incentive item in Ice Cave is the Vorpal, a vanilla strength Vorpal, so
okay, so that's probably better than Katana -3. So the Thief after class change can use that.
Yeah.
Vanilla Vorpal, yeah, that's and again, there's another one, or am I?
It's Tarnin's just picking up that same one.
I gotcha. Okay, all right. So he was just basically getting the weapon. Okay.
Yeah, he was just following in Sonny's footsteps, if you will.
Yeah, and here you're never sharing items. You're only sharing incentivized. Or you're never sharing weapons or armor. You're only sharing incentivized items. So, unfortunately, you can't share an incentivized, sword. Although that'd be kind of nice. I'm not sure how you would do it with the fact that you only have 4 slots, and what happens if you have 4 in your slot. So I'm not sure how easy it would be for the developers to have an easy way to share, equipment as well.
Your trade has been rejected. Please try again.
Yeah. No, I want that ribbon, please. Now you've got 4 wooden helmets. You can't use this ribbon.
Your trade has been Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, it's fine. A Dark Moon has found the top of Sky, which he skips, and then he finds another trove of chests, and then the Q block. So I believe either they already explored those chests, or he's just going to try to get them later. Here is this is actually a really good experience fight for Dark Moon if it's not too dangerous. Sometimes Whiz Mummies can be really bad, but all of these enemies are susceptible to Quake, and that Quake Hammer is doing some work.
Yeah. And, oh, by the way, just have a side of Nuke while you're at it.
Yeah, he's not holding back against that group. That particular punch could be really dangerous. Right.
Meanwhile, Fizz is killing some pirates, and Tarnin is Tarnin and Sonny Wrath are fighting mages. Oh, synchronized mage fights.
Well, mages are just really good experience, and usually aren't too bad.
Yeah.
I say usually. I don't want to do some commentator's curse here.
Fair enough.
Okay, so Dark Moon hit a dead end, and there's nothing good in the bottom there. So really, these teams are neck and neck. I would say Fizzlebeef and Tarnin have a little bit of a levels advantage, but really are a slight minus in exploration right now. So this is really neck and neck right now at the 30-minute mark.
Yeah, I think Dark Moon and Sonny getting up in the air as quickly as they did obviously gave them that time to be able to find more of the places, be able to do a few more dives. But it's just really, I'm pretty much with you. It's neck and neck by and large. And this, of course, is pretty much par for the course, because the first match that these two teams fought yesterday was, I believe, only a few minutes apart in total.
It ended up pretty close near the end. Fizzlebeef and Tarnin had kind of gone out to a big lead. At the end, that shrank a little bit. But what really killed... do we have the team names here? Okay, so Dark Moon and Sonny Wrath, what's their team name?
I believe it's just Clever Team Name.
Oh, okay, all right. That's hilarious. So they got way behind early last time because they were trying to brack one of the fiends. And the other team was successful like almost on the first try, and then bracked another fiend and then bracked another fiend,
Oh,
while they were just going over and over again and banging their heads. So
yeah.
they got quite a ways behind, and they last locationed the floater or the canoe, one of the two, and that put them behind the 8-ball to such a degree that they were never really going to recover unless there was a disaster on the other team's side.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, Sonny has found a 4 Agama grind tile here in the first rod floor of Earth. So, yeah, that's some juicy
And
XP.
they do not appear to be too overly hit pointed.
Yeah.
That's some bad English, but this is something good to take a few levels right now to get you to where you can kill the fiends. You don't want to overgrind. You probably like 15-ish will kill you most of the fiends if you have decent equipment and spells.
Yeah.
And then you kill all the fiends, and between you and your partner, you talk about all the grind tiles you found and which is the easiest one between like how easy is it to get to and to escape from, and if the enemies are too tough. Like Whizvamps, Dark Moon was fighting Whizvamps up there, but they're often just too difficult to be worthwhile as a grind.
Yeah. A couple of other things to report. Dark Moon found the rod in Sky 3, and looks like Lord Fizzlebeef put down, I believe, Kraken.
Yeah, I think that was Kraken, and there was a red wizard behind Kraken who Lord Fizzlebeef turned his nose up at.
Yeah.
So he's preferring the white mage we talked here, which I like this. Okay, so this could be his endgame party. They know where Bahamut is, and he's got a fighter, so he's going to want a class change, and then just use the fighter and Rainbow, and that's a perfectly acceptable endgame party.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially since they know where Nuke is, and since they've got the airship, they can find some of those towns fairly quickly to get some other magic. So yeah, it's definitely a very good party if you can get it set up.
Well, so much is going to come down to Elfland spells, because that's what we haven't seen so far. And will there be like a life 1 or life 2 that the fighter could learn after class change? Something like that can really make a difference. See, look in there. So they decided, Tarnan decided to fight Bahamut. Bahamut just opens with Blaze and just laughs at the enemy party. And Nuke, that does nothing.
Oh dear.
This is Scorch. That's not quite as powerful as Blaze. He ran out of gasoline for his torches.
Oh, so he just decided to punch the torches instead.
Okay, he's finally down, and Tarnan's up to 16. That's a really good level.
Yeah.
He probably doesn't need to do any more grind. And now he can equip that Vorpal. Let's see if he does. Huh? Yep. I like it. So realistically, both Tarnan and Fizzlebeef could finish the game with the parties they had.
Yeah.
At high enough levels, that Thief will be comparable to the Fighter. It won't have as many hit points, but the Thief will be just as fine damage-wise, and can wear almost as good of armor. So the Thief, when after class change, can be your end-game damage dealer if it has to be.
Yeah. And Sonny heading back to that grind tile, I presumably got healed up and such, and has decided to go ahead and smack them around again. And don't blame him at any point or whatsoever, because those Agama are really nice.
Yeah, I would probably just go in here. I would use all my spell charges. I mean, this one's a little dangerous, and just take enough levels to get into those teens, and then you can do the rest of the seed. Because now again, they're 2 orbs behind. And who is that right there? Okay. Who can Fizzlebeef recruit right there? It's
Looked like I can't. I can't quite tell, to be honest.
Knight. Okay, it was a knight. Okay.
Okay.
Which is going to be great. They'll be able to use virtually any piece of equipment they have. I can see Tarnan and TFC, but he's ignoring that. Now we're back to Dwarves. I'm not sure if Dark Moon ever was to Dwarves.
No, since he's going through to turn it in. Well, no, I guess
he's just here to loot the chests.
Yep.
And Opal +4, that's nice for the fighter.
Yeah.
And nothing else, though. That was really a big bust. Meanwhile, Sonny's getting some levels again. I don't mind this, even though it's not the most efficient time to do it. Taking a few extra fights here saves time over trying to re-dive a fiend fight several times.
Yeah.
But this is inefficient. Those Agamas will give you so many more experience points if you get it here with all your orbs in it.
Yeah, because I think if I remember reading the scales correctly, it's 100% plus XP every orb that you light.
Yeah. So I think it's like it's doubles every time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it really does make a difference, and one of those Agama packs should go right up. And now it looks like everybody's going to run a fighter party, so you don't always have to run these quite as high as you would a black belt. Although, you know, it depends on a lot of things. I think every team has 2 ribbons. That'll be pretty good. Again, like nobody's found Elfland yet, so it'll be interesting that if, like on Fizzlebeef and Tarn side, I don't know if they have found Tia or not, because they're basically just Tia away. Well, okay. Does Fizzlebeef have lockpicks? No. They don't have the key either. So Fizzlebeef and Tarnan are not in go mode until they get a key, or until Fizzlebeef recruits a ninja.
Right. Alright, so Tarnan taking on Carrie. It looks like Fizzle has taken down Bahamut, and so has now grown up.
Yeah, and their team already has the fire orb, so this means that Tarnan is doing this for the 4th party member, which I believe is a white wizard.
Yeah. And Danny informing us that Fizzle has a ninja, so lockpicking presumably is on the table.
Ah, okay, if he has a ninja now, then they're set. But Carrie's not playing nice. Carrie's not playing nice at all, and Carrie said, go directly to jail, do not pass go, do not collect $200.
Alright, well. So, maybe a ninja, maybe a knight on Fizzle's side. I guess we will... okay, I think that is a knight, yeah. So, knight fighter, red-black, so... Okay, never mind, we stand corrected.
Okay, yeah.
It's early morning, forgive us, everybody.
And again, and Carrie has poison touch, just a little parting gift.
Oh boy.
She's gonna have about 1,000 hit points with these flags. That thief is just not doing any damage, even with a good sword. And down goes the thief, but we've got nuke. If we can get enough of these nukes, but you need to do more than 100 damage. Okay,
yeah.
252, that's a little better.
Yeah, if I remember correctly...
Yeah, there we go.
The faint HP is floored at 200%, is it not?
Yeah, it is. So the minimum is double. I believe her base hit points is like 450, something like that. So that means doubled. It's like at least 800. I think. Again, chat, call me out if I'm wrong on my stats. I'm an old man and I'm forgetful.
I seem to remember from what I've seen other people mentioning. I think Carrie's base is maybe 600. But okay. I don't particularly know either. I've never been terribly familiar with vanilla game stats because I didn't play the vanilla game a whole heck of a lot. I've played the randomizer far more than I ever played vanilla.
Oh yeah, at this point I'm way over. I mean, I played it when it initially came out when I was a boy, when I'm like 12 years old or however old I was when it came out.
Yeah.
So, and then I didn't really touch it for a long time until I was on Twitch a few years ago, and I saw some streamer running it, and I'm like, whoa, he's running real fast. He must have his emulator just cranked up running fast, because the real game doesn't let you run that fast. And he runs into an encounter, and I think he ran into fish, and they had crack, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? He said, oh, this is a randomized version. I said, well, what's a randomized version? And now here I am wasting most of my time each day playing randomizers.
Congratulations, you've been brought over with the rest of us.
Yeah, well, and I played a lot before COVID, but a year in lockdown gives you a lot of time to play stuff.
Yeah, fair enough. Oh, it looks like we have... oh my god, the Crescent Lake White Magic Shop is flippin' stacked.
Was that where was it Life 2 was there?
Life 2, Fade, and my goodness gracious.
Was the Life 2 in a Red Wizard learnable spot?
I'm not certain on that one. I think Cure 4 was also in Life 2. Yeah, I'm looking at the notes. Life 2, Fade, Cure 4. Dear heavens, that's both good and bad. It's good because you got all those spells. It's bad that they're all in the same slot.
Yeah. At the end of the game, you're gonna have probably 8 or 9 spells in that slot anyway.
Yeah.
The main key is only the White Wizard will have access to all those spells.
Right.
So taking the White Wizard looks good. And right now, what we've got is Fizzlebeef running Double Fighter and Black Mage, Red Mage, where Tarnin's running Black Mage, Red Mage, and Fighter Thief. So Tarnin's a little bit better for the key picking stuff if they don't find the key. Not up, but that's a moot point.
And Danny pointing out that the Red Mage, Red Wizard can't get Life 2, but can and do have Life 1, so there's at least that security.
And, like, Fizzleby found a decent item. It's not great. It was a Fog 2 stick. And, yeah, that's not as good as, like, an Invisible 2 stick, but in a pinch, it's better than nothing.
Yeah, damage mitigation is better than none, but damage avoidance is better than damage mitigation.
Yeah, for certain. It's more of a security blanket. If you have no other options and you can't do damage, you can throw that out there. It can help.
Right. Alright, so Dark Moon strolling the lovely streets of Provoca. Oh, well, no longer strolling the lovely streets of Provoca.
Okay, and we know that Basic Dickman and Fizzlebeef will be in Go mode now when they find Tiamat.
Yeah.
Or wait a minute, did they ever find the loot? Because I'm showing on the tracker that they have not found the loot, which I believe Dark Moon and Sonirath found before they found the floater. And if that's the case, Fizzlebeef and Tarnin may not find the loot for a very long time.
Yeah. I'm checking the notes to see where the loot is located, and...
It had to be someplace that was neither canoe nor floater locked.
Right. Oh. Danny mentioning that they menu fast. Yeah, they menu real fast. So it's easy especially with 4 people to get things obscured or to miss stuff and what have you. So that's why I mention props to our tracker. And I want to keep mentioning it because it's hard enough for us to keep our heads on straight, and all we've got to do is watch the screens and talk. Poor Danny has to watch the screens, take notes, give us the notes, rap us on the head when we can't read her notes, and etc., ad nauseum. So definitely much appreciated.
Yeah, right now they're mostly covering each other, but that's kind of interesting. So so we got to give Dark Moon and Sonirath the advantage here. They know where the Water Fiend is, and I know they also know where the Air Fiend is. So they're basically in Go mode insofar as they know who needs to be fought and what needs to be done. Now Dark Moon is doing this to get another character. Because again, they've already lit the Fire Orb.
Yeah, and checking to see if the incentive item, or if there are any incentive items in those chests, and of course he will find out not so much.
Well, yeah, and the chests that are on the opposite side, the linked chests, there won't be incentives that you need necessarily for progression there. Like, it's possible, but when the game is, or when the randomizer is choosing where these items are, those linked chests are counted in their original locations on the other fire floors. So that means it's pretty unlikely for progression to be there. It's possible for progression to be there, but if progression is there, that means it's available in another place that you already have access to.
Yep.
So the short version is you can skip them.
Yeah. Worth mentioning, Sonny has found Elfland and is now pillaging it, and it looks like Elfland is the town that the vampire invaded. You can tell by all this.
Did we see the level 3 spells? Okay, so I see heal 3 at level 4. What did we see for level 3 for white and black? I was looking
I
at the
believe,
carry fight.
yeah, I believe that's in the process of being updated as we speak.
Okay. For level 4 magic, Saber, which is good for the ninja, and a
Yep.
lid 3, which is always useful.
Yep.
This was all in the submarine.
Out of the Earth entrance.
Okay. So 2 towns in the Earth entrance. That's kind of nice. And Fizz will be making the trek down to Lefane, and I think Lefane is the dungeon that had the loot. Because I do remember Dark Moon or Sani diving that way earlier. Oh, okay, no, it's Melmont.
Yep.
Alright, pay no attention to the guy behind the curtain.
Or the other guy behind the curtain. Since let's. Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm just looking at the Melmont spells. It was Ice 3. That's not so bad. That's useful.
Yeah.
But Darkmoon may be having a little more trouble with carry than he had envisioned. You know, with 200% as the floor, none of these bosses are, anything to laugh at. And there goes the Fog 2 stick. So as an act of desperation, the Fog 2 stick comes out. He just has to keep his AoE caster alive.
Yeah.
But I don't know how many more casts of Nuke he has.
I had missed that initially. I mean, we'll find out in a second when we see the Black Mage come up. So I think that's the last cast of Duke.
I didn't see.
It looked like a 1 to me.
If that's the case, he's got to use elementals, and none of the elementals do much damage against carry.
Yeah.
Yeah, Quake's not going to work. Yep, he's out of nukes. Ice 3, he doesn't have any.
Uh-oh.
Fire 3 won't be that bad. Like he'll do maybe 50 damage, but if she's got a minimum 1,200 hit points, this could be really bad.
Yeah, it's going to be a slog, certainly. And
I think maybe at this point you cut your losses. I'm not sure. Because winning this fight's big.
Yeah, it looks like Dark Moon is trying to stick it out here and see how much damage he does with what he has, and the answer is not much and even less, basically.
Well, he's now got his guys where she's missing on them. The Fire 3 is doing 40 to 60 damage.
Yeah.
So that's some chip damage. One of his guys has the Quake Hammer. I'd be throwing out those Quakes. Your odds are very small, but why not?
Yeah.
And I can see Sonirath making a run for Tiamat. So this will be the first time we see Tia in combat. And to see who's behind Tia. And I'm entrenched. This Dark Moon fight against Carrie is really, really difficult. You can see his lack of offense is really hurting him.
Yeah. I was gonna say it's an absolute barn burner, and I say that as he's literally using Fire 3, so touche, I suppose.
He keeps his arrow just keeps staring at that nuke. Okay, temper. I mean, that's maybe not a bad idea, but he's got no sword in the hand of the thief, is what it looks like.
Nah, that sword's punching. Or that sword's punching. That thief is punching.
Yeah, the thief's not a black belt though.
No, I was gonna say Darkmoon is definitely giving it everything he quite literally has.
I don't know. To me, this really feels like spinning your wheels because they're not even lighting an orb with this fight. This is just for him to replace probably the White Wizard with, I think, a fighter or rather a knight that's behind carry. So it's not even. This isn't even a required fight, and now it's taken longer than a typical second Fiend fight.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, I mean, both teams do have to finish in order to log a result. So if Darkmoon had not taken carry down yet, then he would need to do it.
Yeah, then it would be different. I also get that when you're involved in a fight like this, you've invested so much of your time already, and you're thinking, okay, only like 2 more chips and she'll be down, and you don't want to give up on something that you could have won just to restart and have to kind of go to the beginning.
Yeah.
To me, what this says is he has to come back with more charges of nuke.
Yeah, sort of running into the sunk cost fallacy a little bit, I suppose.
Well, there has to be a balance. There's a
Yeah.
point where eventually you do have to account for the fact that you've spent time, if we look at time as a resource on this fight. But I'm just looking at where he's at. He has no more offensive magic, and doing chips for 50 damage is one thing, but now he's chipping for 1 or 2, and none of these guys are likely to crit. So, and Carrie decides finally to whip out a spell, and Tia's down. So that's kind of nice. That means if Darkmoon can actually beat Carrie, he'll get double the experience.
Yeah.
And that means that that team is in go mode. Well, they were already in go mode. They already knew where everything was. So what we'll probably see is Sonny go and kill Kraken here real quick.
It's also worth mentioning, yeah, Tarnin found at the Adamant in Sea Shrine. So another item for the dwarves to dwarf up, if you will.
Okay, and they also found the loot while they were at it, so they are in go mode as soon as they find the Tiamat floor. But we know that it's, I think it's just a couple deep. I can't remember quite where it's at. And we have dueling carries on the right side. Not quite sure why. Didn't Darkmoon already beat Carrie?
Well, maybe something we need to ask whenever we get to interview time.
Okay, well maybe we just had it tracked wrong. Maybe they had lost to Carrie before. Because the way I understand it is if you beat Carrie and you come back to her floor because maybe you want the character that you left behind, she isn't there anymore. Because you have to touch that orb and the orb disappears. So what I think this means is they just hadn't defeated the fire floor yet. And Fizzlebeef found the air floor, so they are in go mode now. And Fizzlebeef is definitely tough enough to take this fight on.
Danny mentioning that the SpeedGaming tracker that we're using did have the orbs lit up incorrectly. So,
okay, all right, so that makes sense. Okay, so one of them has to win this fight. And again, like Darkmoon, the amount of time that's lost now is getting to the point where this is really hurting them. And there we go, there's the reset. Because really, he just needs to go get like 2 more levels or something like that to just give him enough spell charges to win that fight.
yeah.
And Mario joined. I don't know. I see he's got a Luigi, a Mario. He's just doing that to mess with us. I like Yoshi was a thief. I know that. But I think the ninja is Luigi. And there is a roaming war mech, so if you want, for experience sake, if you want to try to fight a war mech, I don't think it's a good idea, especially when you know there's like a 4 Agama tile that you can go to. Of course, Darkmoon got tore up by that Agama tile and had to reset.
Yeah. It looks like that's where both Darkmoon and Sonny are headed right now, is back to that Agama.
Yeah, now they're all lit up. It's just a matter of what level do we do this at, which has been kind of the theme of this whole co-op tournament. What's usually nice is one of the partners is usually ahead in levels of the other, so he can go in and kind of scout Topher for you, and while you're finishing your grind, and maybe give you an idea, okay, get a couple of extra levels, or alright, it looks safe, go ahead and give it a shot at a lower level. Here, nobody's using black belt strats, so I would think we're thinking probably mid-30s with the spells they have available, which are all pretty good. What about fast? Did we see the spell fast?
Let me take a gander back here. I do not see it listed. Yeah, I don't see it listed.
There it is, level 8. Tarnin just got it.
Oh boy. Well, there you go. Perfect timing.
Okay, so that means only teams with black wizards will be able to get it. So that means Fizzlebeef and Tarnin will have fast, and Sonny Ref and Darkmoon will not. However, they'll have significantly better white magic going in. So that's kind of a wash, although I say that's advantage fast. Fast is such a key spell.
Yeah, especially considering that we're talking about 200 to 300% HP fiends especially second fiends, yeah, you want something that hits hard.
Yeah, and doubling your attack increases your likelihood of crits, and if you're doing it with fighter and or ninja strats, crits are everything, so that doubles your chances of a crit.
Right.
But we have yet another seed where it looks like a master wasn't even available. You know, because at these scalings, usually a master is kind of the safest way to go.
So I do actually have a question. Since you've run these co-op flags, I do have a question for you. Whenever if you pick up a party member from one of the orb pickups, what level do they join at? Do they join at the average level, or?
The way it works is even if your guys are down, that slot gains experience. Okay. So the empty slot has the same experience as everybody else. So even if, let's say, you're two-manning it, the guys who are down still get experience. So there's no point, solo grind or anything like that, there's no point to it. Because you're losing experience to the empty spots anyway.
Yeah.
So your new party member will just start at the same level as everybody else.
Okay, yeah. That was one of the things I was kind of curious about. I had gotten a chance to look at some of the flags last night after I had set up for comms, because I wanted to at least have some idea of what I was talking about. But that was one of the things I wasn't quite sure of, so thank you.
Oh, yeah, these are a lot of fun, and again, I've been away from the randomizer for about a year, so coming back to it, and then seeing all these new bells and whistles, like the blessings and the curses, this lock picking, this right here where we've got guys behind fiends, and I was always a huge fan of the entrance and floor shuffle. That was always my favorite version. And then when I heard the co-op was going to be entrance and floor shuffle, I didn't look at the rest of the flags. I just said, okay, sign me up, find me a partner. And then I looked at it and was like, man, these look pretty hard. And they really have been. You really have to have good teamwork. And then you can't, like right now, Tarnin is level 28. Under normal circumstances, I would say, okay, with this party, we can dive Topher at 28. Yeah, that would be a big mistake with these flags.
Right. Yeah, I got a pretty good chuckle out of some of the things that I saw on the flags whenever I was looking at them last night. I'm not sure how good I would be at a co-op experience. I've not tried it before, and I had already committed myself to other things when this was getting signed up, but it still looks like a lot of fun for the folks who are in it, and it's definitely fun to watch.
Yeah, it's a load of fun, and just me and Tryhard just like practicing, where it's just only the two of us. It's still a load of fun. It really changes the way it works, where you have more than one person exploring the areas, and trying to keep track of things and communicate with each other, and so that becomes a whole nother thing. And like we got competing Agama fights here. Again, Fizzlebeef and Tarnin are ahead on levels, so you'll probably see them going into Topher a little sooner. It looks like Fizzlebeef is 30.
Tarnin was 32.
See. Okay, so Tarnin's a little bit ahead. He's 32. And let's check out the other team here. See how far behind. I think they're about 4 levels behind, if I had to guess.
Sonny was 33 whenever he pulled up his menu just a second ago.
Okay, well then he's actually ahead. Then so he's 34, so 24. So Darkmoon is the one who's behind, and it's because of that carry wheel spin.
Yeah.
And I don't know why he's exiting. Maybe he's out of heal pots or something.
Maybe,
again,
yeah.
He's way under-leveled. But I don't remember them coming across a better grind tile than this.
No, not that I've seen.
But he might have to go outside and drop a house and come back in.
I will go ahead and mention, since we're an hour in and we are grinding the day away, go ahead and give our runners a follow if you haven't already. Fizzle and Tarnin on the Trash Island side, and Darkmoon and Sawney on the Clever Team Name side. All of them are really good runners of this game and are definitely worth follows. And also, as a shout out to our commentary team, I am joined in chat by Lynn the Cat. Hey, that rhymed.
Hey.
And Danny has been the one keeping our heads on straight and trying to keep everything straight with the tracking. And of course, much thanks to SpeedGaming for letting us borrow SG3 and letting us entertain y'all this fine Sunday, well, morning if you're in the States, and afternoon for folks across the pond.
Yeah, it's a lovely evening out here, and this is a good evening for Randomizer. Uh, so what we've got, Dark Moon is going to get some stuff for his guys, level 2 spells, other, heal pots and what have you. So really, right now, it's Dark Moon is kind of holding, I'm not trying to point fingers, but that's the anchor of the team right now, because but what this does is it allows Sonny Wrath to maybe grind higher than he normally would. And you know that your opponents are good several minutes behind you. You can grind higher than you normally would, make Topher basically easy, and then you can give really good recon to your opponent after having gone through Topher.
Yeah. Yeah, especially with the Fiends being set as they are and the levels and such, the recon is definitely important because you want to know what you're up against going in.
Okay, and one thing to note is that Fizzlebeef did grab himself a Master, so we might see him go a little higher. He's on 36. I suspect this means Fizzlebeef will go to at least 40, get his black belt close to 42. Usually you'll get a couple of levels in Topher, whether you like it or not, so you don't necessarily have to go all the way to 42, but it's a safety thing.
Yeah. So Dark Moon, looks like another reason, or the reason Dark Moon stepped away may not have just been to refresh, but he is taking on Bahamut and he's going to go ahead and grow up.
Yeah, that's a really good idea, because if his Thief is his main damage dealer, he needs to do a class change, and then you need to gain so many levels after class change to get your spell charges, and those are going to be some really good spell charges. So that includes Saber, which will be a really good spell that he could use against Chaos. Yeah, this makes total sense to me.
Yeah.
Even though, again, it's going to take a few extra minutes, but he has to do that. So this also means Sonny Wrath can kind of take his time and buy everything from the shops that you've been to, fill up your heal pots, whatever it is. So we see Luigi diving a dungeon. I'm guessing he's going to get healed up. He'll get those level 6 spells.
Yeah. That absolute just monstrosity of level 6 spells. Well, picks up Fade and then goes.
Okay, it really looks like Tarnin and Fizzlebeef, I suspect they will be diving momentarily. There's not a lot more levels that you want to get here unless you're really worried about Topher.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got 40 for Tarnin, who does not have a black belt.
And 40 for Fizzlebeef, who does.
Yeah, and it's an interesting point between these two parties. That Thief for Tarnin is going to make his trek through Topher a little quicker. And we've seen it again and again where having the Thief or rather the Ninja in your party makes a difference in Topher, just for how many encounters it lets you skip.
Yeah. Yeah, that run chance, especially in Topher, means a world of difference.
Yeah, and I love just leaving it the way Tarnin has it, with the Thief in 1 and the Fighter in 2, and then the Thief gives you the better luck percentage for going first in those battles.
Right. Yeah, that's one thing that I've still, in some sense, kind of trying to get a hold of myself. I've been in the community for, now at this point, about a year and a half. But there's still things to learn, even when you've been in the community for many years. And as you were just mentioning, with all the bells and whistles that you've been having to pick up on, having been away from the community for a little bit, so it's a lot to learn. But it's definitely
Kraken is really tough. Carry is not. Lich has nuke. Tiamat, no special magic. Chaos, a lot of hit points on Cure 4. His evade is terrible, though. So this does not, to me, based on that, does not look like a particularly hard Topher. But again, you never know. The bad information only gives you part of the story. Okay, so I see a War Mech fight on Sonny's part.
Oh boy.
Which means it was patrolling, so I think he's doing this for the levels. It'll probably give you 3 or 4 levels.
Yeah. So also, I will say another thing that I apparently missed when I was looking at the flags is, since when have the bats given you hints about Topher?
Oh, that's brand new, or brand new
Okay.
from my end. I've never seen it before this one. But again, I said I really hadn't raced in about a year before I started doing this tournament, so I'm a little out of the loop. So that was just another cool thing, and it is a really cool thing.
Yeah. Danny giving us the rhymes today, bat stats.
Yeah, but yeah, bat stat strats. Some worms. So it looks like at this point, with Dark Moon and Sonny Wrath, they're a little bit behind. They're not particularly behind, but they will need at least one wipe from one of the two teammates. And again, the likelihood for somebody to wipe in these flags are pretty high, even when you are like level 42 like they are. So it's still certainly a possibility. Tiamat can just end a run, can just decide, no, you're going to die, and then you're going to die, and then you're going to die. So anything can happen, folks.
Oh yeah, the gatekeepers are called gatekeepers for a reason.
And juicy sarias, and yeah, Tarnan thought about eating those juicy sarias, but nah. The Gurmadusas you have to munch on. Meanwhile, this Warmech fight's going on quite a while. There we go, the Warmech goes down. So that's a ton of experience in level 43 for Sonny Wrath. But again, because he's ahead of his opponent, I wouldn't necessarily just go to Topher now. Okay, he's going to Canaria probably just to get equipment. He's got 99 heals. So no, he's going on the dive. And he didn't check the bats, which I don't like. If you're the first guy in, you might as well check the bats.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I've got dueling liches on the left side. And ink, okay.
If we have dueling liches, are there banjos involved?
Well, this is interesting because already Fizzlebeef went into Topher ahead of Tarnan. And I think we're going to see, because of that Ninja and Tarnan's party, that Tarnan will finish first. Unless a Chaos is particularly bad. Now, if Chaos is really bad, Fizzlebeef's party will be better equipped for it.
Yeah, looks like... oh, boy. Looks like this race is coming down to the wire just like yesterday's did, because we had Fizzle entering Topher at 107, Tarnan at 108, Sonny at about 110, and it looks like Dark Moon is going to enter at about, well, maybe not. I thought it was going to enter in at about 111.
Dark Moon's level's too low.
Okay.
I think he's only like 26 or something.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's heading back for that Agama tile.
Yeah, this Agama tile is easy to get to, and again, each fight's a level, so you'll get levels really quick, and diving Topher more than once takes a long time.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Okay, so we got Carrie here, and I think Carrie is down on Fizzlebeef's screen. Okay, Carrie's down on Tarnan's screen. Two of them. This is just wonderful teamwork, and Fizzle's just been a few steps ahead in feeding information back, but we really haven't seen anything scary yet. But generally speaking, Kraken is our first gatekeeper. So we'll see. A really ugly encounter for Fizzlebeef. And that's why. Okay, yeah. He got away.
Nice. But yeah, the Fizzle and Tarnan have really essentially been in lockstep throughout.
This is such good teamwork, and even keeping their levels synced so that they could do this dive about the same time, even with slightly different parties. This has been really impressive. And also scary, since that's the team we'll have to play in the next round.
Well, have fun!
Oh, man. Okay, so we got fast, but Kraken did kind of some Kraken things and hit the main damage dealer. And then did 700 to the Knight. Let's see, a low damage nuke. And then we've got a second Kraken fight down below. Be interesting to see what happens down there. And Kraken kills a fighter. The Cure 4, okay, so that Cure 4 was pretty huge. No, it wasn't.
Speaking of huge, wow!
These nukes might take him out. He's low hit points at this point, so they gotta just nuke and pray. Okay,
Oh.
alright, if this one doesn't do it...
Uh-oh.
No! Okay,
Oh,
he went
one
first, he
more.
went first, he went first, he went first!
Oh.
No!
Oh, my.
Alright, Fizzle
Ow.
Beef wiped. Okay.
Ow.
And
Ow.
we have ourselves a race, ladies and gentlemen. If Fizzle Beef's not taking levels, he's coming right back in, and I have to admit, I would as well. And
Yeah.
so Tarnan just heard about this in the early part of his battle with it. Okay, so Cure 4 being maybe a little bit more cautious. Really good turn order here. And the red mage goes down. So that's the main resurrector. If the fighter goes down as well, this could be ripped for him and Blizzard. But Blizzard's not dangerous. Okay. Yeah. Normally Blizzard's pretty dangerous, but not now. He's looking really good. Tarnan's almost got Kraken down. He should be fine.
Well, I was gonna say we said that, and then Fizzle just got destroyed. So maybe maybe we shouldn't count our chickens just yet.
Maybe not. Well, like this ought to do it. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
We were nearing the max hit points, and now that life is really going to put in work. So that life on the red on the knight was the difference between winning and losing.
Yeah.
So now we've got the Kraken fight on Sonirath's side. It looks like his thief has been beaten up pretty badly, and his thief is his primary melee guy. Okay. He may be okay, but he can't lose that thief. He's got to keep that thief up, because that thief is the only consistent damage. And he won't be able to throw out as many spell charges with his mage setup. But he's thrown out enough Invis 2s that Kraken just missed. So I think Sonny's fine with this Kraken fight.
Yep.
And he's through.
And took him down.
And do we see, what is his ninja using? Is it using Katana or is it using Vorpal?
I'm not certain.
He's not getting the Mazamoon, which again, if I would use either the Katana or the Vorpal above Maza anyway. So, wow, that wasn't bad.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it looks like at least just from what we saw so far, Tia is not going to be nearly as much of a gatekeeper as Kraken, but I may be speaking too soon, so don't mind me.
The spell list will make a difference, so will the abilities. Yeah. The attacks are just not as dangerous. Tia doesn't seem to have the ability to drop somebody with a single blow. And Tia's down. So let's see if Chaos has anything to say. Meanwhile, Darkmoon has got to end his grind a little early. I know he needs levels, but at this point, he's got to get in so that he gets in Topher ideally before Fizzlebeef right now, or not so far after that. If Fizzlebeef wipes again, that he can get back. All right, Fizzlebeef is really setting himself up this time, and I seriously doubt he wipes this time. But again, you never know. Sometimes the game just says you will wipe.
Yeah. I mean, that Kraken is probably the best example of that in this seed so far, but we'll see what Chaos and friends have in store today.
Okay, Sonny's going here. Usually want to clear out these garlands quick. I don't remember if Garland had any abilities this seed. When he does, we had Trance the other night, which was a really terrible one for Garland to have. And the nuke, looks like the Garland repellent worked really well. We've got the real Chaos in the upper right. And he opens with Stop. But we know that he has a Cure 4. And considering how many hit points he could have, that Cure 4 could be huge. Meanwhile, Tarnan's through to Chaos as well. So the key for Darkmoon's got to end this grind and get into Topher before Fizzlebeef, should Fizzlebeef crash and burn again. Otherwise, they're probably sunk. Now, of course, he doesn't know that. You're not allowed to watch your opponent's stream. So, at this point, you just have to guess. The trouble is your opponents or your partners at Chaos. So you know that there's a chance that both the other guys are at least as far ahead as your partner. Okay, let me see what level he is. He's level 39. Just go. I know he's got the black belt, but I think he's got to go now. You can get those last 3 levels in Topher. The nuke doing work for Tarnan. Chaos, I don't know, really hasn't seemed that scary.
No, not yet. It has a lot of HP, but we knew that from the bat stats that we saw.
He's down. He's
All
down.
right.
Thief did it. Okay. Get a
So,
G up there in chat. We've got half the team finished.
yep. So G's for Sonny Wrath, and we're probably going to see G's for Tarnin pretty soon, I would suspect.
Yeah. Unless Chaos decides to just act completely different. And we didn't see the Cure 4, but Chaos just mostly attacked, and it wasn't even very dangerous.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, on to Lich for Fizzlebeef. But Lich isn't anything. If Fizzlebeef is gonna crash and burn, it'll be a Kraken again. So that's the timer for Dark Moon. Dark Moon's got to get into Topher before Fizzlebeef hits Kraken if they've got a chance. Okay, he hits a random encounter. That's no good.
No. Yeah, it looks like Dark Moon is probably going to be taking it at least all the way to, because you were mentioning he was around 40 earlier.
Yeah, so he's got to be taking it to 42. Well, yeah. And I can see also from his point of view, when you just look at the timer, it's 119, and, you know, that means he's actually not so far behind. This means he's on track for a really good time.
Yeah.
It just so happened this was kind of a jetish seed. Well, I mean, it was a definition of a jet seed. They got the floater and the canoe in an early location.
Yeah.
So, it concerns me if I'm that far behind my partner, because that's the only thing that I have to gauge against with these kinds of seeds, because they can be 2 hours minimum, or they can be this. Which this is good for these guys, because I know there was a time limitation, and we started early to try to compensate for that. So at least they got a fast seed.
Yeah.
Okay, now Dark Moon is finally exiting this. He's trying to walk out, but man, there's lots of encounters. And this is exactly as Fizzlebeef walks up to the big calamari. And he's got two guys with almost 999 hit points. Both of whom can carry the team. They're both melee guys.
Yeah.
The black belt's a little bit stronger right now, but probably the knight has better armor. And Dark Moon has to kill Garland before he can even get in. And okay, the knight almost dies. I love that Cure 4. Okay, alright, boom. Alright.
So that answers my question as to why Dark Moon didn't put the house on before coming into Topher, or coming into Temple of Fiends. That's because he beat Garland and then used the house.
Okay, Chaos whipped out a nuke, which dropped some guys on Tarnin's side. And I see Brack strats. That seems like a sign of desperation or cockiness. I think actually he's in trouble. If he's throwing out Banes and Bracks instead of like Tempers or something that can really make a difference, I think Tarnin might be in big trouble here. And if Tarnin wipes, then all of a sudden Dark Moon can finish this dive for the win, even if Fizzlebeef does take it in ahead of him. Yeah.
Because I believe it's the way that that victory is decided in these is an average of the two team time?
No, it's not the average. It's the second team to finish.
Okay.
So right now, if Dark Moon finishes ahead of either Tarnin or Fizzlebeef, his team wins.
Okay.
Both Fizzlebeef and Tarnin need to finish for their team to win.
Okay.
So technically speaking, Fizzlebeef and Tarnin are in the lead right now. As long as Tarnin can find a way to get a Bane through on this Chaos, or have that X-Gal, which I was talking about, that he should be on Vorpal. That X-Gal is just not Quad X. Ugh. Oh, come on, crits. Oh, 256 damage from the Red Mage.
Oh boy.
Man. Oh man. Okay, and slow 2 miss. Okay. 10. Okay, he's down, but all the damage is. So this is close. This is super close. Red Mage goes first, no crits. Okay. Dark Moon, for the first time in any of this races, their team is in the lead right now. So I'm sure Dark Moon doesn't know it, but if Dark Moon can finish this dive, now Tarnin is really fast and a really experienced runner. So like Tarnin could catch up and pass Dark Moon. But, I mean, they have the same, it looks like they have the same party, or almost the same party, so it's hard to say, and I think Dark Moon might actually be a higher level.
Yeah, well, that just popped up that Dark Moon is 44 now, so
Yeah,
definitely plenty of levels to be had.
Okay, so we know that Tiamat's not really a threat. We know that basically Chaos and Kraken are the threats.
Right.
And what I think happened to Tarnin was it looked like he didn't have enough tempers. I don't know if he used them early or if Chaos killed his temper caster, but just looking at it, like he wasn't able to do enough damage. He needed to up his damage. Okay, Fizzle Beef is through to Chaos. Now if... I mean, it just depends on how you want to think about it. There's more than one way to do this. Sometimes you want to take your best fighter and get him out of the front row. It's hard to say. Here, his best fighter's in the second row. I still would have moved maybe the black belt to the third position, just because I'm paranoid. Okay, so the black belt kills a Garland really easily, and then this nuke should kill all the other Garlands, or at least hurt him real bad. Okay, Chaos is in the upper right this time, and the crack almost kills the rest of the Chaos. Okay. Chaos opens with stop. We know he's got a nuke and a Cure 4 in there somewhere.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen the Cure 4 yet, have we?
Okay, so to me, this is the race right here, this Kraken fight. This Kraken fight for Dark Moon is the race. If Dark Moon can get through this, the rest of the Fiends are more doable. This is, I think, the most dangerous fight. Okay, so he reached out and touched the, the ninja, but didn't quite kill him. 486, that's not bad. Ninja does nothing. But the fact that Dark Moon moved his black belt to the back row, I really like that move. To me, that shows. Well, and again, I guess Sonny Wrath had told him. And then, of course, Kraken doesn't care, and he still hits the black belt in the back row.
Of course. Because why not?
Yeah. Well, no, usually Kraken smells the white mage. It seems like Kraken loves to kill that white mage first.
Yeah.
100, so really one more swing from that black belt should do this.
Yeah.
Black mage is down, but that's fine. He's expendable. Now that white mage is not expendable. And so now this means Dark Moon can't raise any of his guys. However, he could man mode it, and knowing the rest of the fights, he can definitely do Tia. This Chaos might be a little bit beyond his ability. I don't know how many spell charges that Thief has left. If he has 4 tempers, that might be enough. Yeah, he doesn't have any items that'll help. He's got the heal staff. I mean, that's okay. But there's no way to cast Invis. Yeah, so he's just fight, whole day and pray. And Tarnin is now rediving, so he took a few levels, went out, saved it, and went back in. Fizzlebeef is through. Give him a G. G. And so our first ones are finished. But it's looking tough for Dark Moon. I mean, he'll win this fight, but this fight's not going to go quickly, and the Chaos fight will go even more slowly. I guess his ninja can throw out a nuke, which will clear out all the Chaos or all the Garlands.
Yeah, but we know that the Chaos has a lot of HP and that Cure 4, so.
Yeah, what he's going to have to do is hope that he gets some sort of evasion up on that ninja, and the Chaos wastes his time attacking that ninja and missing, and letting the black belt get his swings in, because even with a temper or 2, the black belt's not going to be doing that much damage. And if he lets the battle go on for too long, there's a Cure 4 waiting for him.
And the unrunnable vampires. And the unrunnable vampires are going to cause problems too.
Man, Skyfloor unrunnables are just something you never want to run into.
Yeah,
this is just more of a time sink. He'll be able to beat these guys, but it's also going to eat more of his resources. I don't know what his heal pot situation is. Because, neither of these guys know white magic. If I might use that heal staff in the last round of this battle, Yeah, he lost a lot of hit points in this battle. So using heal pots to heal his guy is going to take a minute. But he's got nice levels.
Yeah,
Meanwhile, got Lich 1. Yeah, he has enough heal pots. Okay, all right, just barely.
Yeah.
No, heal all your guys now. Are you going to move him to the front? Okay, he moved him to the back just to make it easier to do the heal pots. Yeah, he'll be able to heal this, but again, this is kind of slow and arduous, and it's no fun. A back A back A back A. Yeah, it's it's a little arduous, but yeah, that's what you have to learn for this game.
Yeah. Well, it certainly
It's
it certainly is better though when now that the most of the time we see these races run with the auto sort, so the heal pots at least are automatically in the top position.
Yeah, and that
Otherwise,
was another quality of life improvement that they made since the last time I had played. Yeah, because you used to have to like up back A. Yeah, you had to learn a pattern there. So he used the fog stick.
yeah,
I don't think that's necessarily a bad idea. And then we're using okay, I like this. We're using and that will tell him who Chaos is.
also I think he didn't pick up any spells for the ninja is the main reason why
No,
he uses the cake
that's a
stick.
big mistake. Yeah. So he doesn't have temper because being able to temper the black belt right now it would be huge.
Yeah.
Oh, drink strats. I think. Oh no, he's got heal staff. Okay. Yeah, I would never use the drinks if you have a heal 2 staff. Okay, yeah, and he's got to be mindful of staying above 400, just because we know that a nuke might be coming out. Stop. That's not going to hit his guys. So Tarnin is... Where is he at this point? Okay,
He's about to take on Kraken.
entering. Oh, he's in the seafloor. Okay.
Yeah.
So realistically, this battle is not going so badly for Dark Moon. I might throw up another one of those fog sticks just in case. We know that chaos casting spells is actually what they don't want. Because we know there's Nuke and Cure 4 in there. Okay, alright, so he's doing 200 points of damage to the Black Belt. Black Belt's doing 400 damage. Okay, this is starting to look a little sketchy now.
Yeah, the heal 2 stick, of course, is doing some work, but it's just a question of is Dark Moon going to be able to get enough damage in before A, that Black Belt is taken down, and B, that Cure 4 gets cast. That helped.
I'm really worried about that Cure 4, actually. I think he's going to be okay for the nuke. Oh, did that slow 2 hit?
Nope.
I couldn't see if that slow 2 hit. Okay, but it was... Okay.
Nervy moments here.
yeah, that's... I think that's game over if that slow 2 hits.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, he's only to maybe 1,500 damage, 2,000 damage now. And this Chaos has got, I think, about 4 grand. So...
He had been getting some... Yeah, had been getting some pretty decent hits the last couple, so that helps. But
as long as he's up over 500, that means this is doable.
Yeah.
The trouble is, I'd like to see his hit points above 400.
Oh!
It's down.
Wow!
We have a game 3. Holy cow! This was a come from behind victory. This was absolutely huge. Wowee! Oh, GGs! Get your GGs in chat, man.
Absolutely.
They were behind the whole time. Dark Moon and I was giving him a hard time for grinding too long, but it looks like he needed absolutely every level. So don't listen to me. Tarnin and Fizzle Beef were just so perfect, but like Kraken just kind of decided between the really bad Kraken fight for Fizzle Beef and the really bad Chaos for Tarnin, they just had trouble.
Yeah.
Tarnin's on to Tiamat. Again, we know Tia is really no big deal. But wow, what a fight from Dark Moon. So he had to 2-man it for both the last 2 fiends.
Yeah.
With no real white magic. This was a great race. This was maybe the best race we've had in the first round so far. And just because I'm cruel and because I have to play the winner of these matches, it kind of makes me happy to see it go to a match 3. So these guys have to wear themselves out while I get to watch more content. So wow, just a really congratulations to everybody here. I'm so glad I got a chance to watch this race. This was so much fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, given the caliber of runners in this community, there's really not going to be a bad match at all. But my heavens, this was the first one was good to watch, which I caught the end of, and this one it's been great to see the whole thing from start to finish, just to see how well all four of these runners work with their partners and just what it comes together to. I mean, because we're still looking at, probably the difference between the two teams is going to be again just a handful of minutes.
Yeah, you can really see it, and just because this is something that the co-op has, is this great equalizer that if the guy that's in first place rushes ahead and finishes 20 minutes ahead of everybody, that means nothing in these flags. You and your partner both need to finish. And to be honest, I really think Fizzlebeef and Tarnin did a much better job throughout trying to, let's say, finish within a few minutes of each other, where on the other side, Dark Moon had gotten quite a ways behind, but in the end it doesn't matter because both of them had smoother Tophers. They both
Yeah.
dove Topher once and won, and the other team both had to dive Topher twice. So that was the difference. But I'm not sure if I could put my finger on anything that Fizzlebeef and Tarnin did wrong. So Tarnin's doing the
The
the the,
victory
the, the
lap.
victory lap, the lap for good luck. Okay, all right. So Tarnin's not going to come in to do comms. I know he's not feeling well, but if he listens to this VOD, my hats off to you. This cool victory spiral. Okay.
We gotta do
Anyone
another one.
okay, all right, and we're gonna go around and about and back this way. Okay, and then one more hop back. Yep. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's just
yeah.
talking chaos right now.
Oh yeah.
But wow, what a good match. And I hate to harp on this, but the fact that, again, the end of the race came between Dark Moon and Tarnin, and are they running the same party? Do they both have a black belt? No. Okay, Tarnin doesn't have a black belt, and like, did he switch to Vorpal? Hopefully, he did switch to Vorpal. So yeah, he's manipulating the RNG with all that running around. Um, so I'm not sure if Tarnin switched to the Vorpal on there or not, but we'll see.
All
Okay, I
right.
think we're joined in chat. The winning team. Congratulations, guys.
Oh, thanks. Oh, wow.
Yeah, thank you.
Wow.
Yeah, this was interesting. There was a moment where I think it was Dark Moon was banging his head against Carrie, where all the damage had been run
Yep.
down. And you guys were neck and neck until that point, and you guys got behind a good amount just right there at that Carrie
Yep.
fight. And so you were all grinding at the same spot. All of you guys were doing Agamas at the same time, and Sonny Wrath was the same level as both Fizzlebeef and Tarlin. He was maybe a level or two above them, but Dark Moon was several behind them.
Yep.
So Sonny, I think, was the first into Topher with Fizzle and Tarnin like neck and neck right behind him. And the difference is that Fizzlebeef wiped on Kraken, and then Tarnin made it all the way to Chaos and had a really long Chaos fight and wiped. And at that point, Dark Moon was already halfway through Topher, and it was his to win. But then Kraken reached out and knocked all his life casters down, and then said, "Okay, you're going to have to man mode this for the last two." And I kind of thought you guys were done for. So way to go, Dark Moon, on the man mode at the end.
Thank you. Yeah, I had this vibe that like if they weren't like right behind us, they were going to be, and I knew I couldn't just stop. I couldn't reset because then there was obviously I was not going to make it through. So I had to try, and so it was just what gear do I have that I can move around to cast spells, and let's see if I can make this work at all. And it did. I was very pleased.
Well, it was perfect, and had you not used that healing staff, that
Oh yeah.
you wouldn't have been able to win the battle.
Yeah, I mean, we've Sonny can agree with me on this. Most of the time when we've been getting the items here for the starting AOE, it's been junk and we've just sold it. But like, as much as Heal 2 isn't that great, it showed its benefit today.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that Kraken too was fairly scary because there was a punch on my black belt that took him from full to 2 HP.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and we saw it with some of the other runners. Fizzlebeef, he did more than 1,000 to Fizzlebeef's guys.
Yeah.
I think the highest we saw was a punch for almost 1,500.
Oh, that was a gross Kraken. It's
Yeah.
just foul. So no, I'm really. I mean, I'm happy with our performance. I know I got bogged down behind on the grinding, but if you've watched the previous game that we did, and you can't watch the practices that we've done, but in the practices that we did, I've usually just paused whatever I was doing exploration wise and gone and just do some grinding to keep up with Thonny because admittedly he's faster at this game than I am. But in this particular one, it was just we had a lot that we had to do because we got in the air so early. It was the two things that we could do are grind or we could explore, and exploring felt so much more important that I just didn't bother with grinding.
I think it was the right call. You guys
Mhm.
got the floater a good amount earlier than they did, and you got the loot earlier. However, they killed the fiends earlier than you did, so they
Yeah.
kind of got you had an exploration advantage, they had a level advantage early. And Tarnin is through, by the way, so get your GGs out.
GGs.
Yeah, GG's turning.
I knew those victory loops would help him out.
No. Are they joining us or are they out? At this point.
I know Tarnin won't. He's feeling
Oh,
ill.
Fizzlebeef.
Fizzlebeef might.
Here we go,
he
Fizzle.
is.
Speaking of Fizzle,
Hello.
GG, sir.
GG. That we attempted to push an advantage and it kind of blew up in our face.
Hey, that happened yesterday with us in the tofu roulette. It's tofu roulette.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you guys went in there. You and Tarnin in neck and neck. He was, I think, a half floor behind you. You both had pretty good levels. In my opinion, I thought you were not going to have much trouble. And then, Kraken 2 decided to be a gatekeeper again and really gave you a hard time.
Yeah. Our first downfall was that Kraken 2 that I couldn't make it through. Tarnin made it through, I did not. And then our second downfall came when that Cure 4 was at the most inopportune time for Tarnin's fight.
Yeah, we saw that Cure 4 on his list, and just in a chaos fight, when he drops Cure 4 and you're on the precipice of beating him, it's just so demoralizing.
Yeah, in theory, we maybe should have just cruise controlled until we saw the Cure 4 and then dumped everything into gas, but on the other hand, maybe Cure 4 is the 7th spell in the script and you just push through and you're fine. That's the gamble we made and failed.
Yeah, and Darkmoon made it. Darkmoon didn't see either the nuke or the Cure 4, and when he killed Chaos, he was below 400 on both of his guys, so a nuke could have dropped his whole party, and a Cure 4 destroyed his spirits.
Oh yeah, no, if the Cure 4 had come out, I'm not sure I would have finished that fight.
The Cure 4 came out for Tarnin, I think, after he had done at least, he said something 3,000, 4,000 damage.
yeah, and
Funny track, that Chaos was 6,000 health.
Yeah, that chaos had really close to 6,000 because
Yeah,
I had
it
hit.
was more than 5k for sure.
Yeah, because I hit 5k on my third or fourth attack, and chaos hadn't gone down.
I
And that was
lost count
after
after
10% fast.
I lost count after he Cure 4'd on me, and I was just
Yeah.
whatever. We're just gonna whole day nuke, whatever, spam, and get through. Because I'd gotten to 50 at that point, so I knew I was getting through. It was just a question of time.
It's
Yeah.
been 10 minutes. My heart's still racing.
I was 45 when I finished.
Yeah, same.
My first dive I wiped at 42, 43.
Mm-hmm.
I think Tarnin had at least 150. I think 50s was Tarnin's level at the end.
Yeah, on the second dive, after the chaos wipe, he did a grind to 50, and then he went back in.
Yeah, I saw him taking worms.
I so wish I knew that worm tile existed, but when the Agamas were there and they're so close to the top, you just don't check anywhere else. You just take what you got.
Yeah, Thonny told me the worms were there, but I'm yeah, but I don't have warp or exit because I didn't buy them because they were so high level. I'm just no, Agamas it is. I'm they may not be worth as much, but at least I have these guys here and I'm not going to have to stress over it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
No, the Agamas were fine. That's where everybody got their levels.
Yeah.
And we had really close to minimalist on key items, in all honesty.
Oh yeah,
we
look at
found a lot of. I was gonna say we found a lot of things that went nowhere.
Yeah, no. From when we found all 4 fiends and we were missing everything except Elfland, that was when I prioritized absolutely just exploration. I'm like, okay, what do we have in the way of key items I can do stuff with? What can I do some turn-ins? Dive a dungeon, see if there's a town there. And I did that enough until we found Elfland. And I'm like, okay, I'm done with this. I'm go mode now. Let's just grind and go.
What's in Elfland?
Temper.
Something that was behind the Oxy Ale.
What's a temper?
Yeah, no. Well, I didn't get to have Temper for most of my run through Topher. Thanks, Kraken.
Yeah, we at some point we came to the realization that like all we needed to find was Tia and we were good to go. The problem is that we don't have Rod, we don't have Chime, and there's every possibility that what we need is behind those.
Yeah.
But we decided to just press our luck and just hit the gas.
Yep.
And we got lucky. I bumped into Tia and I got the Master. That became my new win condition.
Yep.
And then we just looked at our stuff as just like we could spend time, like we could dig out like the Oxyel lock, or we could dig for Rod and Chime to get our Temper and our lock, or we could just grind to like low to mid 40s and then just like make a go at it. And it was a calculated gamble. It just didn't work.
Yeah.
But if we had lock or Temper, it would have worked.
That
How
Master
about
being
level 8 fast?
Yeah, no, we realized it was there. I'm like, well, not getting that then. Okay. The Master being at Tiamat became the win condition for me because I was desperately trying to like low punch my way through Carry. Which, how much health did that Carry 1 have? Because I dumped 6 nukes on her and all of my thunders, and she just did not die. And
She was like 13. She was like 1300.
Yeah.
Closer to 16.
Yeah.
Temper
My
punch
score
strats were not working.
My score was 8 nukes and a fire 3. So
Yeah. So I just like when Sonny finally killed her, I'm like, well, I'm not getting this fighter, which would have been like desperation anyway, because I had sold my Opal 4 gear for money to buy gold bracelets, figuring a fighter wasn't in the feed, and then I felt bad about that afterwards. But Master, yay, Master!
yeah.
Though I will say, shoutouts to the robot chicken, who was absolutely easy to destroy.
I didn't find that floor. So
We found that one early.
Sky 4 was at Matoya's, and if you went to right, you immediately found Wormek.
Huh.
Yep.
Yeah, that would have been in Tarnin's clear section, so I didn't hear about it. I don't pull Wormek because it's because of the scaling, so
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I just did it because it's Wormek.
You were 12 levels ahead of me while I was grinding on Agamas, so it was like, well, I've got nothing better to do.
Pretty much!
Because, yeah, you could have done it, failed, and come back to Agamas and still beat me into Topher, so, like, whatever.
Yeah, no, Dark Moon, you were finishing up your grind, and I was like, oh man, he's got to finish that grind. Because I could see, Tarnin and Fizzlebeef at that point. I think Tarnin was still fighting the Chaos fight where it was like a coin flip if he could win, and Fizzlebeef was looking like the dive was going to work, and it's like, okay, he's got to get in before one of the two of them to make this happen. And you were right. If you didn't finish with that particular dive, you guys were probably sunk.
Oh, absolutely. Because Tarnin finished 8 minutes behind me, and Topher is at a minimum 10 minutes with these flags.
Yep.
Yeah. There was no way. So, but
well,
I mean, this gets back to the conversation Fizzle and I were having yesterday, in our match 1, which is the 42 on almost any party feels like a win condition at this point. Like, yeah.
Yeah,
Depending.
Unless you get something particularly nice, like 4 ribbons across the board, or everybody knows life 2 at level 1, or there's some things that'll let you do it lower than that, but
Kraken's
really
a wet
it's
noodle.
looking like 42 is getting up there. It also depends on the swords. If you have maybe like a Vorpal +3 and a fighter, maybe you could do it lower than that. We've run some practice seeds where we had like a katana +3, and you could actually run that, maybe at like level 38 with like two ninjas with katanas. So like it can be done lower than 42, but if you're going to take the master, you better be 42.
Yeah, master definitely.
Or get the 42 while you're in Topher.
We did math on an Excal breakpoint, but then realized that Tarnin was going to have to wait for me anyways, and I was like 1 level behind him in the grind, and I was going to 42. So it's just like, if I'm going to 42, you might as well go to 42. So,
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And that was again that really looked great for the teamwork set. For Fizzlebeef and Tarnan, you guys did such a good job of being lockstep, of being about the same level throughout the seed, and then at the end of the seed, had you both finished Topher on your first dive, it would have been an incredible seed. You would have finished like about 125. It probably would have been the lowest time of any team so far. And I thought, really going into Kraken 2, I thought you guys were going to finish about 125 right next to each other, and it was going to be like the fastest seed of the tournament.
Shout outs to
that
Tarnan
Cure
for being my favorite teammate in anything ever, because we complement each other so well, and we are a well-oiled machine. We're just bad at gambling. That's our flaw. We're sometimes bad at gambling.
Yeah, the only thing that I would say is that given the equipment and the flags here, Tarnan probably should have grabbed the master, but doing a TM fight that you don't really have to do just to get that master, and he had lots of damage that he could do.
Yeah,
so I can see it both ways.
We discussed it, and with the melee he already had, and with the options he already had, it just sounded like a time sink for minimal benefit. So we just wanted to go with what we had.
Well, yeah, because Vorpal was available, the X-Cow was available, there was good armor out there, there was at least 2 ribbons. I mean, on paper, the Knight was a great call.
Yeah.
Well, and maybe just
going
going and get that Masamune. That maybe if you're going to go with a Knight and you don't have the Master, take that extra time to walk on the last floor and get that Masa.
Yeah.
It's hard to say that.
Yeah.
Blame the fever.
Yeah.
Tarna blames the fever for forgetting about that Masa. So
it's fine. I think I got the Masa and then forgot to equip it. So like, yeah.
I had Fist of Moons. It was fine.
I mean, same.
No, what you guys missed, and I'm gonna have to clip this, is Dark Moon casting Temper onto his thief who is punching Carrie.
Yep.
With no weapon.
Hey, he got up to like 70 damage a couple times. If he could have done that more regularly, I would have had that carry down. Like, it was close. I was like, eh. Once Carrie was dead, I'm like, I'd rather just have than pick up this Knight that won't have any gear anyway, because I already sold all of it.
Tarnan in chat, did y'all call out the Vorpal that he forgot to equip and then just like was fasted 8 hits 8 damage punching Chaos? Yeah, that happened.
Yeah, we were looking at that. I was like, what sword does he have? Did he switch to the Vorpal? Because there was the Excalibur was available and then the Vorpal, so it makes sense to switch to Vorpal at least for maybe Tia 2 and Chaos. Even though I think this was Vorpal -1 or
it was base Vorpal.
It was straight Vorpal.
Okay, well then base Vorpal is probably better than base Masa against Chaos.
Against that Chaos, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I was lucky that Chaos was only quote-unquote hitting for around 200. I was lucky I didn't see the Cure 4 or the Nuke. If anything had been slightly different on what I got, we wouldn't have made it past this game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we were waiting for that Nuke. I'm pretty sure the Nuke was queued up, and you were right around 300 hit points on both guys. And
there was a good
chance,
There's a good chance I would have survived it because of the high M death, just roll down the damage. But even then, like, it would have been much dicier than I would have liked. Then a Nuke into an early punch without the heal 2 stick coming off would have just wiped one of my guys.
Nuke was 4th spell in the list. It was one after the Cure 4.
I think I only saw a stun and slow 2, and that was it.
Yep, the next one was Cure 4.
Yep. That would have been demoralizing.
And the slow 2, that could have ended your run right there. That went right onto the black belt.
But again, I am deaf. Thank you for Master having 4 points per level. I just gotta say. It makes it viable. I mean, without that, I would have been sitting there going, man, I gotta put a ribbon on this guy just to make sure he lives.
Well, great race, you guys. This was definitely the best race of the tournament so far, in my opinion, which gives us match 3. And again, the rest of the tourney bracket is set. So we're going to have a game 3 here for basically the last spot into the round of 8. The winner will get to play my team, me and Admiral Tryhard. I think he's in the chat. So
Uh-huh.
I'm happy to see more recon on your guys' races. Not so much about like the way you guys play, but just the more of these seeds we see, the more you can kind of work things out, because these really are some unique flags, and I really want to thank Danny and whoever put these flags together, because these flags have been just a load of fun and something different, and really
You're
great for the
welcome.
co-op again, in my opinion.
Well, GG's guys. That was a good race.
Yeah, that was a fantastic race.
Win or lose
Congrat-
tomorrow, I think we should all be happy with how this turned out.
Yeah.
Congratulations to all of y'all. It was a great race to be a part of. And Fizzle, were you the one that said that you're on the West Coast?
Correct.
So 7:30 a.m.
Yep.
Ugh.
I don't like it.
I mean, fortunately, we won't have to worry about that tomorrow.
That's true. It'll be right after work, so I'll be nice and grumpy.
What time
Perfect.
are we doing it? Do we know yet?
9 p.m.?
9? Okay.
Yeah, 9 p.m. works.
That works for me.
Well, you heard it here first. Tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern, presumably, we get match 3, and it's going to be really exciting. I'm looking forward to it already.
Hi.
Somebody sounds nervous.
Wowee.
I mean, honestly, I'm feeling good after pulling a 118 on this.
That's amazing. Oh, I think I was a what, like 132, 131? I think that's an ED for me on these flags.
My timer hecked up, but I think I was right around 127.
Yeah, you were done when I was finally got around to watching the stream.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right, unless anybody else has anything left to say, I think we can call this one quits. Thanks again for SpeedGaming for hosting this, and for everybody for racing it. You guys out there, follow the runners, follow the tracker, and everybody have a great night.